getting into the presentation just a little bit today. So we've got a lot of interest from our partners regarding marketplace expansion, specifically through Walmart.com. So with this interest comes questions, and we're excited to answer some of those hopefully today. For timing expectations, we are planning about 45 to 50 minutes of content with Q&A to follow. And then we will have a hard stop, fingers crossed, by 1:55 Eastern, just so that you guys all can get to your next meetings. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to submit those through the chat, and we'll try to answer those throughout the deck or at the end. The more questions, the better. We love to hear them. We also have gotten several before this webinar, so we'll add those to the end as well. And then before getting started, we just want to take a couple of minutes to introduce ourselves. I will first pass it over to Gary Chavez, Chief Revenue Officer from Solid Commerce.
Thanks, Nicole. Yep, Chief Revenue Officer at Solid Commerce, where my mission is to help our sellers expand to new channels and acquire new customers and thereby increase their sales incrementally. I've been at Solid Commerce for 5 years. I've been in e-commerce for 15 years, and prior to Solid Commerce, I ran global e-commerce for Live Nation Artist Services. So thanks everyone for joining us, and happy to be chatting with you today.
Thanks, Gary. We also have Zach, Associate Director of Strategic Partnerships from Walmart.com. Before I hand it off to him, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to him and as well as everyone on his team. We have dedicated a lot of time and resources to starting our Walmart.com partnership, and I cannot say enough good things about Zach and his team. So Zach, over to you for your intro.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. And my team is fantastic. My team and I, we lead the technology and agency partnerships for Walmart Marketplace with specific goals around helping sellers succeed and to drive overall marketplace growth. Really stoked to be here. Love the work we've done together to expand our agency playbook to include Retail Bloom, and Solid Commerce has been a great partner of ours for a while now. So love the collaboration here across teams, and then also just always excited to meet and engage with sellers. So really happy to be here. Can't wait to deliver the content and get into a robust Q&A with you all.
Awesome. And then lastly, I'm Nicole Reish, VP of Sales and Marketing and one of the co-founders of Retail Bloom. If you don't know about us, we're a full marketplace agency for brands and manufacturers looking to improve or expand online marketplace presence on sites like Amazon, of course, Walmart, eBay, and both domestically and internationally. I kind of like to say, as we get in discussion with Solid Commerce, if Gary and Solid Commerce is step one of how to set up your back end, how to do operations, Retail Bloom is really step two in considering how you can drive growth and actually increase sales, increase conversion on the sites. So in addition to Retail Bloom providing some background on strategic tips at the end, I will also be moderating this. And with that being said, I want to flip over to the agenda. So for today, we will start with Zach to do two things. First one, Walmart Insights and Business Direction, followed by some best practices when you think about applying for your Seller Center application. From there, Gary's going to take it over for scaling automation from Solid Commerce. And then, like I said, I'll finish up with some help from Zach on strategic growth tips that we've learned over the last several months to help our brands grow on the platform. So with that, I will hand it over to Zach.
Great, thanks, Nicole. Let's get right into it. Next slide, please. Okay, just running through sort of the why into why everyone is excited and thrilled to be able to extend their business to the Walmart Marketplace. Just briefly running through the slide here. Today, Walmart serves customers like no one else can. Top quality product selection, best in class shopping experience, and there's no shortage of investment from top down to help improve customer shopper experience, which is absolutely focused on improving sellers' ability to connect to those customers. You've probably seen chatter about it online, but there's a bunch of work going into the mobile experience to improve sellers' access to not only online grocery, but to the .com and the marketplace businesses, as they're all one channel now for sure, to help speed that business up. What does that look like? How is our growth going? It's fantastic. So opportunity this year, right? Why do people want to connect with us? 120 million unique customers a month. And so if we talk about the next number here, the 79% sales growth and why that's important, if we rewind a few quarters and we go back to Q2 of last year, or if we look at the overall base of what we're growing against, the business as a whole, Walmart, the entirety, 5,342 brick and mortar shopping experiences, and then layered on top of that is the e-commerce business. The total business for the last 4 quarters grew 9.3%, 6.4%, 8.6%, and 6%. The .com business, the e-commerce business, rewinding all the way back a calendar year, 97%, 79%, 69%. And then if you look into Q1 of this year, we hit another 37% growth on top of Q1 of last year. So really, really compounding growth in our marketplace, which means not just opportunity for you guys as sellers, but also compounding focus from the leadership within Walmart in its entirety. And just a quick caveat, these numbers as we report them, 79% sales growth is e-commerce as a total, so all of our 5-channel e-commerce business. If we extrapolate marketplace out there, which is what we're specifically talking about today, we outperform the total. Just we don't report it directly, and I won't give you a specific number here, but just know that what you can expect from the marketplace growth versus the total would be a growth driver. So you can expect it to be a little bit higher here. So next slide, please, Nicole. Okay, we're a trusted marketplace built on partnership that aligns with your brand's business needs and facilitates your growth. What does this mean? We'll get into it a little bit deeper, but we're highly curated and selective by design. We don't allow everybody to participate in our marketplace. We'll never have a peer-to-peer selling platform where, or excuse me, like a customer to customer. You have to be professionals. You have to have verifiable experience. And we also like curated selection that exceeds our customers' expectations. Next slide, please. Who shops with us and why do you want to connect with them? Our .com business is a very affluent customer. We also are really close with regards to our retail footprint that over 5,300 brick and mortar locations across the country. 90% of the US population lives within 10 miles of a Walmart store. So they're constantly reminded of the opportunity and the dedication to the customer that Walmart is committed to, and extending that promise to the customer through our marketplace business allows you as e-commerce merchants to really step in and connect and thrive off of that environment that we've built. More than half of our online shoppers are married and partnered. Nearly half have children. So the opportunity selection really knows no bounds with regards to like the categories you can sell into. 56% year over year on Walmart digital platforms searches increase. So we're seeing a deeper penetration from our customer base as they come to Walmart, starting their shopping journey there and looking to discover new products from Walmart.com. Yeah, closely managed, selected by design. I touched on this a little bit before. That empowers the success of our sellers. Our partners selection process fosters a community, professional, and retail experience trusted by customers and partners alike. What does this mean to you? It means that you have a greater share of the customer base seeing your products. It also means that you have less negative ramifications from an overly burdened marketplace. So you're not dealing with people with any sort of like content stealing or anything like that. Your competitors on the marketplace are professional peers and they act that way. We have really low incidence of IP infringement and negative customer impacts due to things like that because of our highly curated nature. And it's something that we're really proud of and we'll work really hard to maintain. Bottom left corner, no setup or monthly fees. We don't charge you to have a professional account on our marketplace. So don't anticipate that you have to budget in, $45, $30 a month, whatever it might be. So that's definitely a specific benefit that we have on our marketplace. Okay, competitive referral fee percentages that vary by category and that are honestly getting more competitive the more energy and resource we put into these to help empower sellers to really wow our customers here. So these should be in line with basically industry standards. Something we've done now, I think the highlighted ones with the dark blue are those of which we had most recently reduced. And we're also working on finding ways to improve the real small and light to help return some margin to help cover for shipping there as well. So, and just to encourage the audience, if anybody has questions, please drop it in chat. We won't get to them during the presentation, but as soon as we're done, that'll help us to sort of drive that conversation forward. So you guys hopefully have understood a little bit as to why people want to join the marketplace. Here's the qualifications on who actually qualifies. Like I mentioned, highly selected and curated. The selected piece is what we're going to cover here. So we look for experienced e-commerce sellers, and all this information has to be easily verifiable. I would say almost every application that comes through would be vetted by a human, going line by line and checking everything you put in against verifiable signals that are available to them. So with the US business tax ID, making sure that it's a US-based seller, history of marketplace or e-commerce experience, once again, verifiable. How do we verify those? We look at other marketplaces that you might be participating on. We check for reviews to make sure that you meet our commitment to the customer. You have a compelling product catalog. You're enhancing the selection. You're also meeting our requirements with regards to safety concerns, as well as just policy compliance there as well. We do require GTIN or UPCs as unique product identifiers, with the caveat that it is possible to get UPC exemption, but that does take basically like director level sign off. And so we don't like to source that necessarily, but it is possible. Same thing with US based. There is a small number of sellers we are recruiting from China specifically right now to meet really specific catalog like niche fits. Just full caveat there. And if anybody has specific questions about that, connect with me, Gary, or Nicole. We can get into those specifics. Exceptional customer experience, fast and reliable fulfillment, business to customer US warehouse. So Gary, I think, touches on this a little bit later down the line, but just these very important. And that track record of first-class customer service, like I said, verifiable. We want to make sure that you are as committed to the customer as we are, and will only enhance customers' experience when they shop on our marketplace.
Awesome. I think it's really interesting to know that UPC section again, that they are required, that you can't be UPC exempt. I mean, yes, it might be difficult for custom products or special makeup products, right, where it's bundled. And, you know, I can think of a brand we work with that's custom furniture, and having a UPC for every customization might be tough. But we do feel like those are sometimes the outliers, right? And
Yep.
From the agency side of updating content, knowing that every product on Walmart has a legit UPC in the background helps us with content, right? We don't have to be merging duplicate UPCs or getting sellers out there that create just frankly incorrect UPCs so that they can get that product live, even though it might be counterfeit or a knockoff. So I think that having that UPC requirement, though sometimes not great for custom products, it is beneficial for those, you know, evergreen products, or I'm even thinking larger apparel brands, just to keep the content clean. So appreciate that as well.
Yeah, and absolutely, these are broad stroke requirements. They're specific to GT and UPC. We do have a UPC exemption process. We don't like to extend that out, but for the right scenario, we absolutely can.
Cool.
All right. Okay, so the application process, what does it look like? It's pretty straightforward. You can honestly be done with your application and moving into setting up your account within about 20 minutes. So it starts with requesting to sell, navigating through either a referral link from Gary or from Nicole, processing through the application itself. After we receive the application, you actually get a tentative acceptance to the marketplace while we're going through and vetting your application. During that process, you're able to set up your account. You're able to add your listings, connect your feeds to Solid Commerce, take all those steps just as a way to, so we're working in parallel, vetting the information you provide us, allowing you to move forward. Should you be everything you said you are, then you qualify to sell. You will be able to go live and you don't have to wait. Typically what we heard in the past was, hey, it takes too long. We're waiting for our trust and safety review before we can go live. And so we were able to not automate, but just work in parallel during last year to really exceed expectations for our onboarding steps there. It's kind of broken up. So request, contract is a part of the request, setting up your account with the registration and onboarding. You have a really tight like onboarding checklist which walks you through every single step of setting up your actual Seller Center account. The last step would be like adding your actual items. For that, specific to this call, that is when you would engage and basically authorize and enable Solid Commerce to push feeds into your account on your behalf. After that's checked off, there's a quick sync with an onboarding agent to make sure that everything's ready to go. It can be an email, but it's typically a call. You give the thumbs up and we take your offers live, and then you're an active seller on the Walmart Marketplace. Okay, great. This is a list of the specific items we would expect for you to gather prior to pressing apply or starting the application process, just to make sure that you're ready to go and you can get through that in the 20 minutes or so. Otherwise, you're spending all your time tracking down your SS4, your tax ID document. But I don't need to list through these directly. One thing that is kind of interesting is we only use two payment providers, which would be Payoneer or Hyperwallet. So if you care between those two, maybe do a little bit of due diligence prior to beginning your registration.
Yeah, I would good point here, but I would add that make sure you understand everything that you need for the application process before you start it, especially in bigger companies. A lot of the times it'll ask you for information that maybe you as the e-com, director of e-com or sales director may not have access to. So it's good to look at the checklist from this perspective, or if you do have questions, let me know. We'd be happy to help, but get all that information before you click on the link. Otherwise, you'll get frustrated pretty quickly of going to the next one and then being like, wait, I don't have that. So we get that feedback a lot. So collect everything that you need before starting the application process.
And then also, it's always great to make sure that your information is matching. The source of truth we look for is what's available to us on like the federal tax ID document. So if you're talking about address mismatches and things like that, so just make sure that information is consistent throughout, and you do have already pre-gathered what you need to apply. We do have support. I'll touch on it a little bit later. I can touch on it now, though. If there are specific questions as you're applying, obviously you have resources available to you based off of the connections that we're talking about on this call with Solid Commerce, with Retail Bloom, with myself and my team to help with the application process. A lot of what my team does is to support the onboarding of sellers from our tech and agency partners. But we do have a portal which allows you, the seller applying, to get status updates about your application should you be just looking for more answers than were delivered to you through like the normal communication channels. So that's something that just launched. I'm extremely happy that launched, because it had been a pain point with regards to sellers trying to onboard for years, and so that's a huge improvement for us.
Cool.
Yeah, all right.
Repeating kind of what Zach just said, we are getting questions, just so you know. I can see them, and I will be sure to try to answer those and ask Zach or Gary, because a lot of them are related to Solid Commerce. If they don't get answered, we'll ask those at the end, just as a heads up. Thank you, Zach. So next part, getting started and scaling with automation. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to Gary.
Great, thank you, Nicole, and thank you, Zach. As everyone could see there, launching on Walmart, it's a great way to acquire new customers, and obviously through that acquisition, increase your top line revenue. Lots of questions on how to get started. I think Zach did a great job covering many of those. There's also the question of, once I get started, how do I operate efficiently? So we'll jump into both of those topics here now going forward. Just taking a step back and looking at the e-commerce ecosystem, in particular the front-end channels, there has been a proliferation of sales channels to engage your customers. With that proliferation comes an opportunity to deepen your relationship with them, and you get those repeat impressions across the different channels. You're building brand awareness, and you're moving the customer towards a buy decision. But with that opportunity in those new channels including their challenges, including pricing and updating optimized product content across channels, managing inventory excess, etc. Basically, more channels means more opportunity, but it takes work to get there, and being efficient is the key. And so once you are successful, you want to make sure once you have a new buyer or a repeat buyer that you're fulfilling your brand promise through excellent operational execution. And we'll look now at what makes that possible and also some of the challenges. So all your channels are your front-end engagement points. And on the back end, you have business systems that are systems of record and help you manage your business on a day-to-day basis. And so that, in essence, is headless e-commerce technology stack. So if you hear headless e-commerce, just think front-end control of my presentation layer across different devices and channels to create a real customized customer experience. And then on the back end, all the systems that help you manage your business, like order management, product catalog, ERP systems as well. And the key to headless e-commerce is the front end and the back end. By detaching the front end, it gives you all that creativity in how you engage your customers and what that customer experience looks like. But then you have an application layer, a integration layer between the front end and the back end. And I just like to think of those technologies like API, EDI, FTP as kind of data Sherpa interpreters, translating communications between different systems. So one of the big keys is this continues to evolve in headless e-commerce, is as you're making technology selections for back-end systems or even front-end systems, make sure they play well with others and that they integrate well with other technologies. Otherwise, you're going to face barriers as you scale your business. And then we can jump into, yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Before I go to the next slide, we've gotten a couple of questions about different integrations outside of Walmart.com. So I guess the first one would be would sellers be able to leverage Solid Commerce for, let's say, Walmart Canada? That would be the first question.
Absolutely. We support Walmart Canada. It's a great partnership. They're very customer focused. They have a little twist on the customer profile from the US-based customer. So they help us work with our sellers on marketing and promotions and targeting specifically to the Walmart Canada audience.
Awesome.
Cool. So best practices for getting started on Walmart. Zach touched on a number of these, so I won't go into too much detail, but you need a US-based non-FBA fulfillment source. So you can think of all that universe of 3PLs out there, including, say, Deliver as an example, as companies that can help you fulfill that requirement. Zach touched on UPC codes. And then one of the things you're going to want to get started with when you list on Walmart is list your unique and fast-moving SKUs first. It'll give you momentum as a seller and help you generate that incremental revenue that you can then feed back into the business. So focus on your catalog that's really moving well. And then price competitively. That's pricing parity as well as pricing leadership. Pricing parity is basically don't sell your products at a dramatically lower rate off Walmart and then be selling them on Walmart at a higher price. That's not a good best practice. So competitive pricing on Walmart with other channels. And then also with regards to price leadership, that refers to when other sellers are selling your product, and the same sort of rule of thumb, the pricing just needs to be competitive or you can run into challenges with your listings.
Yeah, actually, Gary, I'll go back a little bit. So I jumped the gun on that next bullet, but wanted to add some context here. So everyone knows about the pricing challenges as it relates to suppressed buy box or MAP violations or buy box loss on Amazon. We have been on the brand side educating and encouraging our brands to get e-com policies, MAP policies, know who's selling your products, use pricing softwares. I mean, we have some available at Retail Bloom if you need some, but as a brand, it is your responsibility to be monitoring and being aware of what your products are being sold for across all platforms. So we talk about this on almost every single call. It's just as important as on Walmart as it is on Amazon. I will tell you, as this was kind of one of my tips, but I guess we'll talk about it now. As a seller on Walmart, you can sell the product for whatever you'd like. However, they have a module or a tab within Seller Center that shows you, here are all your products that are not competitive, and it'll send a link so that you can see, hey, this one we can't sell on Walmart because if you click on this link, it takes you out to Amazon, eBay, whatever site it might be, and it's lower. So yes, you can set the price, but only to the extent that it is still competitive. So Walmart is just as aggressive as other marketplaces to make sure that they are providing their customers with the lowest prices, and they're forcing the sellers and the brands to get on board with that.
Thanks for that, Nicole. And then there's the required minimum data, product data. Walmart has done a lot over the last year to make this part of the process easier, but you're just going to really want to make sure, as Zach and Nicole discussed earlier around the application process, that you have all your data ready to go before you start listing, and that you're really aware of the data requirements to have a successful listing pushed to Walmart. They have a really great seller support portal where you can easily find those requirements along with performance requirements, et cetera. But make sure you've got great product data before you start listing. Otherwise, you'll run into errors like category missing or category wrong, things like that. And then seller performance standards. You want to be aware of that as well. Obviously, you want to maintain a great customer experience and a great Walmart experience. Some of the performance standards include plus 99% on-time shipment rate, also valid tracking rate of 99% and less than 2% 90-day defect rate. In order to maintain those performance seller requirements, you're going to need automation. We'll talk about where there are opportunities to automate here in a moment, but be very, very aware of those SLAs. And then also packaging. So packaging, it needs to be non-branded, can't include any materials from any other company other than Walmart, and your customer service information needs to be clearly displayed on the package. You need to be clearly communicating your support email address and phone number and hours of operation. Basically, as Zach said, just provide a great customer experience when it comes to customer service. And then returns. So you need to be aware of returns rules. Basically, you need to allow returns within at least 30 days. And there's some exceptions there, like in the electronics category, but by rule of thumb, that's the returns requirement. And the window for returns starts 7 days. Yeah, 7 days after the item's ship date. Then we can look at opportunities to automate. So one of the things you need to do in order to scale and automate across the e-commerce tech stack that we looked at earlier is move your customer data and purchase data to back-end best-of-breed SaaS solutions. The SaaS solutions all have web services. They all talk to each other easily. Oftentimes, there are out-of-the-box connectivity between systems like Shopify and say Solid Commerce, or Walmart and Solid Commerce. So make sure when you're making technology selections that they're open systems. And then obviously product listing and optimization. You're not going to be able to do that at scale without some solution. It doesn't have to be ours, but you're going to need a solution to manage product listing and optimization on an ongoing basis in an automated way. And then there's order routing. Order routing is, you could set up rules around how to route an order to a warehouse. It could be lowest cost, or it could be FIFO or LIFO, some rule around accounting. But you're going to want to make sure that you can automate that, because there's no way that you're going to manage that on a manual basis. Same thing with proximity routing. Proximity routing will route an order to a warehouse that's closest to the buyer in order to minimize on shipping costs. And that's a great way to make sure that you can scale efficiently and profitably. Repricing, you need that as well. If you want to win the buy box, you want to reprice against your competitors through certain rules, either percentage of discount off of their pricing, or maybe have a floor, that type of thing. You'll use a repricer, and there are lots of them out there. And then shipping rules. Shipping rules will translate the shipping service selected by the buyer on Walmart into a carrier service. And so let's just say someone wanted a 2-day delivery, and that's what they selected on Walmart. Automation will allow you to then translate that into USPS priority or UPS ground or 2-day service, whatever the service might be. You can set all that stuff up in advance, and then as your orders are flowing through and routing, those rules will be applied. And then inventory management, everyone understands you don't want to have, you don't want to oversell and have to cancel orders. Also, you can do things like create scarcity with inventory management rules and only show a portion of your inventory as, buy it now, there are only 3 left, that type of thing. And then lastly, customer communications, things like post-order, delivery, surveys, CSAT surveys, that type of thing. So automation's key if you're going to scale your business across multiple channels. And then just briefly, I'll share a brand success story with as a customer of Solid Commerce's Bissell. They're over 100 years old. They sell cleaning products. They had a great year last year. They extended their reach last year to 3 additional channels on top of the 4 that they added in 2019. They did 2x the 2019 GMV in 2020. Part of that's COVID lift, and part of that was channel expansion. The vast majority of that incremental revenue was driven through expansion to Walmart, which is a really great match for their brand. And then ultimately, the technology we used was API, EDI, and FTP. Again, just technology that helps systems talk to one another.
Awesome, Gary. Question on Bristol. Did they have a 1P business and then a supplement 3P business, or what did the selling strategy look like on the platform?
That's right, and so they did have 1P, and then the 3P was they created customer segments where they created separate brands for each segment. And so that dog in the background, that's pet care brand, and they created a collection product catalog of products that specifically are targeted towards pet owners. And so they created multiple brands, those 4 brands, they launched them across the 11 channels, and they did that as 3P.
Awesome. Yeah, that is one of the things that we find with the brands that we work with as well. So let's just say that you are selling directly to Walmart in store, but maybe sometimes they don't pick up the entire catalog, right? Or maybe they had the entire catalog, but then they stopped purchasing certain products for whatever reason. We've worked with brands to then get those live back on the 3P side, either through a 3P seller or through their own Seller Center account. And then as that product gains traction, the Walmart team sees that, and a slam dunk is, hey, they come back to you and say, great, this product's taking off on .com. We want to have it in store as well. So that's really a win-win across the board. But let's just say that they don't pick it up in store. It's still you're targeting a different audience when you go online with the .com site.
That's right, and all of these brands had their own .coms as well.
So, Gary, before I cut you off, anything else? Any last comments on that section?
No, we're good to go.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to take a brief second pause here, mostly to do some audience engagement, which I love. I'm getting the questions and comments, so thank you for doing those as well. But before we transfer over to kind of that growth or strategic thinking about what you can do once you get on the platform, we want to do a quick poll, and the question is how do you currently manage your multi-channel business? So that should be up on the screen right now. So the first one, manually download order data and upload tracking. The second one, multiple tools, whether you list product, manage orders, and update inventory that way, or a single multi-channel end-to-end solution. So already getting responses. It looks like 57% single multi-channel end solution. Oh, it's flipping around a little bit right now. 53% of you saying the middle one, so it's a little bit of everything, where 18% says it's very driven by order data and manual. If you are doing, for the 20% of you that is doing it manually, Solid Commerce, it would definitely be a great solution or starting point. Would definitely encourage you reaching out to Gary to talk about what they can do for you there. I will tell you, as brands go across multiple marketplaces, not just Amazon, not just Walmart, it only gets more intense, and because of that, maybe only more Excel spreadsheets coming your way if you don't set it up the right way to sync and leverage software to scale. Cool. All right, thank you for that feedback. So last bit that we wanted to talk about is strategic growth tips. So we have a couple of questions in the chat about, okay, yes, I'm on the platform. I'm already getting them. I'm on the platform, but what do we do now, right? And what should we expect? So Zach and I wanted to take a couple of minutes to just focus on some key points. The first one being kind of what is the equivalent, maybe flywheel effect of Amazon on Walmart, and what key identifiers should I be looking at to understand whether or not my products are positioned the right way for conversion and for impressions or growth on Walmart.com. So I stole this from one of the great content pieces that Walmart has on the right side here. You can see offer up at the top. We've already talked about that pretty extensively through Gary, right? Making sure that you are having pricing consistency, and if you can have a discount on Walmart, of course, they would love that. But it also speaks to speed and shipping price. So Zach will talk about that in a couple slides of how do you make sure that you are reaching customer expectations or meeting them with quick and free delivery. So we'll talk about some options there in a couple slides. The second one is on performance, kind of a no-brainer, right? Make sure that when customers are purchasing from you as a seller, they're getting great customer experience, they're receiving their package on time, it is the correct product, right? There's not any defects in it. And then the last one would be content, which I want to focus on in the next couple of slides in particular. So flipping over to content first, I'm going to start with the picture on the right. So this is a little mock-up of a product listing on Walmart or PDP. As you can tell, it's very similar to other marketplaces, right? So we have the ability to add imagery and video. We have a strong title at the top. We have pricing, reviews. You have kind of your thumbnail pictures and the ability to set up variations, very similar to other platforms. We speak about kind of order delivery, and then also your enhanced content, which I would say is similar to Amazon's A+ pages. I wanted to put this out here because the first tip I would say is that you can repurpose content from other platforms on Walmart, right? Especially as it relates to video and imagery, text overlay. With that being said, there are differences in what you can do on Walmart versus other platforms. So a good example, on Amazon, that halo image, that first image, you can't have anything outside of a white background and a picture of the product. Well, Walmart's a little bit different. So make sure you're looking into the image requirements, video requirements. Another really good check is that their title requirements are different. On Amazon, we find that the longer the title, the better it is for search, right? As it relates to the A9 algorithm. That isn't necessarily the case on Walmart. So there are some differences in the way that Walmart looks at your content and then uses those back-end terms to serve your products. So just make sure you understand those differences. One other tip that I'd like to point out, this is the number one, if you have one takeaway from this entire webinar or to help people like Retail Bloom or other agencies in the future, is that the first person to create the UPC on Walmart.com usually has the best ability to edit that content in the future. So there is a back end approval process of who can, oops, Zach, are you butting in a little bit?
I'll butt in after this comment, but yeah, we are making improvements to this specific process. Still, this holds very true. And then the other piece was with regards to recycling content from other sources and publishing it on the Walmart Marketplace. Just please make sure that if that content is customized for those marketplaces, whether it have a call out for Amazon URL or an eBay deal or whatever it might be, we've seen that before, that will automatically get that content suppressed, if not the specific item ID delisted for a timing until it gets cleaned up. So please, if it's recycled, make sure it's recycled without any other branding.
Good point. So and just for the record, those types of images on Amazon specifically also aren't allowed. So if you somehow got grandfathered into uploading a product image on Amazon that has like a Prime badge on it, right, or free day 2 shipping, those are not supposed to be on Amazon, and Zach is correct, you obviously wouldn't want those on Walmart. So just make sure that the imagery, like you said, in video is consistent just to the product, not to the platform. But kind of revisiting this UPC, I just want to mention that Zach said, you know, they're working to improve the content authority. Hopefully one day, you know, you can tell Walmart that you are the brand so that it trumps your content efforts. But one of the things that we continuously work through cases with the Walmart team is basically telling them, hey, we're the brand owner. All of these other contributions are incorrect. Please use our optimized content. And unfortunately, or you know, it's getting better, but I will say that it is pretty difficult still and takes a lot of time. So if you can create the UPCs the right way the first time, that's always best. The second one I talked about, repurposing imagery and video assets. I mentioned this as well, understanding Walmart's content property and image rules. And then the next thing I actually want to talk about is this section 4 of reviews. So when you log into your Seller Center, before I mention that, you will be able to see kind of your listing quality score, which I think Walmart does a great job of saying, hey, here's the product, here's why it might not be serving. So it shows you you're not very competitive on price, you don't have enough images, you have bad reviews. So we talk about content, but reviews are just as important. And as the marketplace kind of improves and takes off and your products are getting more traction, reviews is always a big thing that we talk about, right? It's hard to take off if you don't have maybe 5 5-star reviews. So one of the good things that we found about Walmart is that you can syndicate your reviews. So for example, with Bazaar Voice, let's say you have a Bazaar Voice for your B2C website or for other platforms, you can use those reviews and syndicate them to Walmart, which has been really, really helpful and obviously not something that Amazon allows. And then the second thing that I would mention is that they are launching new programs to help jumpstart reviews. So Spark Reviewer Program, partnership with Bazaar Voice, I would say it's the equivalent of Amazon Vine. There is a cost to do the campaign, but you provide free product in exchange for legit and honest reviews. So those have been really helpful as you're starting to the need for product launch or creating those new SKUs from scratch on the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one other piece I know we discussed briefly before, we actually just made an acquisition of a company called Aspectiva, which plays in product review syndication. So future state, we might have a native solution as well, but just really exciting things with regards to helping our customers discover the right products through review syndication.
Cool.
Yeah,
and then,
great.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Okay, fantastic. So fulfillment and shipping options. If I look up in the questions section, one thing that stood out really clear to me is I'm already engaged. How do I sell more? What are the keys to unlocking sales velocity? Far and away, the number one thing you can do is to achieve badging on your items. The most impactful badge we have today is the 2-day free shipping badge. You can easily, based off of some qualifications on your account, apply to be a part of the 2-day free shipping program. I don't want to say it's like an automatic acceptance piece, but it's not as stringent as, let's say, a seller fulfilled prime. But you can expect roughly what we're delivering as a lift here of 40% for every item that's enrolled in 2-day. On top of that, if you look at the very bottom, the Walmart fulfillment services, which we're putting a ton of investment into expanding our native fulfillment solution for our marketplace. The stats I just got delivered to me was a 50% increase if your items are not already enrolled in 2-day or 3-day, the expedited free shipping programs. 50% increase if, 50 if they're not already enrolled, 30% if they are enrolled in 2-day. So even on top of the 2-day lift, the Walmart fulfillment services lift will provide you an extra 30% there. So that's super valuable. And we're expanding the amount of square footage we have in our warehouses to add more selection into our program. We've really cut down on the application to acceptance timeline for sellers excited to participate with fulfillment services. And if you have already engaged with the marketplace and applied in the past, just please pay attention to your acceptance, because more than likely you would have by now received your acceptance or denial, most likely acceptance. And then looking forward, we're actually expanding into like non-sort. So some of the heavier, bulkier, it's not specific to heavy, bulky, but those non-sort items, we're adding specific assortment opportunities there as well within fulfillment services. The Pro Seller Badge is extremely important because that allows the customers to identify you as a trusted seller on the marketplace. Even though the marketplace is highly curated, there still is a difference between those who engage in 2-day, have high quality listings, have really successful post-purchase quality metrics as well. And so we badge those specific sellers at the offer level as pro sellers as well, which is important. And the pro seller metrics are clearly outlined to you as a seller through the listing quality dashboard. You can see exactly where you stand, what steps you need to take to improve your standings to achieve pro seller badge. So we're really encouraged by the progress there. We are working right now to roll out specific feeds that would allow a Solid Commerce or another solution provider to ingest these nudges and these metrics into their user interface. So if you manage your business off of Seller Center specifically, you can still receive these nudges and you can still work to achieve pro seller badging. So talking about driving your sales and your success on the marketplace, these programs right here are incredibly impactful and important for you guys to have as a part of your suite of services.
Yeah, and dare I say, almost borderline required, right? So to echo what Zach said, one of the complaints that we get for brands coming to us on Walmart, maybe they have an account and we're managing their Amazon, but we don't do their Walmart. We look in their account at that quality listing score and can pretty quickly determine why they aren't seeing the lift or meeting expectations when it comes to sales. And I would say the number one thing we see outside of just content that is not updated is due to shipping, whether it be 5 to 7 days, or even worse, maybe they're selling a product for $25 and then they're charging shipping for $25. That is not going to work. No matter how great your content is, if you are not competitive with shipping and you're not getting it there quick enough to the customer, you are going to struggle to see content or to see sales take off. So super excited that obviously Walmart's investing in Walmart fulfillment services, because I know from the retailer side, shipping around the country in 2 days is pretty expensive. So, a response to what we're saying here is, yeah, Nicole, I get it. I need to be there in 2 days, but I literally can't when my warehouse is in Maine and it costs me $13 to get to California. So totally understand that. Excited to see the growth with Walmart fulfillment services to hopefully make that easier and compete with obviously other big players in the space. Cool. And then lastly, Walmart advertising, Walmart Connect. I put this last because on purpose, mostly because unlike Amazon, Walmart is still a platform for organic search, and it's still ruling most of the pages. So I say that with a fix your content, fix your shipping, get your products live first before going after Walmart advertising. And once you are there, just recognize that those campaigns are similar enough in the way that they look sometimes from the front end, but most importantly, the pricing model is much different. So biggest takeaway from advertising for Walmart, it is a first price auction system. So if you bid $10 for a certain keyword, you're going to pay $10. That is not the same on Amazon. Let's say that you bid $10 for a keyword on Amazon and the next person only bids 25 cents. Amazon will only charge you 26, right? You win the bid and you pay 1 cent higher than the second best or highest bid. On Walmart, it's up to you to dictate that price. So what we recommend is starting low and then increasing, 10 to 20% your bids so that you can track that cost per click in an affordable way, as well as obviously increasing impressions. So that would be probably the biggest difference. I will say that the sponsored product ad placements are pretty cool. Like the top of search is just really, Walmart's done a really good job of being able to give the brands a little bit more room to play with when it comes to lifestyle imagery or product placement, and they also do a good job of doing it on the search pages. One other thing that I would mention is that if you are selling to store or you have products in store, we find that advertising campaigns on Walmart work really well when it's that pickup and delivery. So I would definitely leverage that if you have products both online and in store. Okay. So closing this out, we are just coming up, we're at 1:56, so we won't have a ton of time, but I do want to take this quick poll. If you could please provide feedback on who supports your Walmart growth strategy. So are you doing it in-house with an e-com marketplace team? Are you doing it in-house with the help of an agency? Are you leveraging a third-party seller? Or do you have some type of hybrid approach where you have third-party sellers and own seller accounts? So we're asking this to get your feedback, and if you're in that last option and you want to talk about different ways that we can work together, would love to do that as well. So right now it looks like it's in-house plus agency, and then also in-house with over 20% of you still evaluating options, which makes sense, right? Definitely. We say if you're on Amazon and you're doing that well, obviously Walmart is a great next step, and we'd love to help. So wanted to get to just maybe one question if we could. This one is an easy one that I just want to knock out. So Zach, you mentioned that, and Gary mentioned that you have to be a US company in order to be approved. What about for Walmart Canada? What does that look like?
With regards to, can you be a US-based seller selling into Walmart Canada?
Yep, and maybe vice versa.
And vice versa. So as long as you have US tax established, W-9, W-8 Benny, we can launch you to the US marketplace. It's a very small subset of those sellers that actually qualify, and your inventory, we're not shipping cross-border, your inventory has to be housed in the US as well. So yes, you can be a Canadian corporation selling through Walmart.com, but you have to have tax liability in the US, and you have to have your freight forward option as well.
Awesome. Okay, and then next question, what are the restrictions on typical restricted categories? So tobacco, alcohol, any tips on that? Or and if you don't know them, we can send out a list of those restrictions in the follow-up email too. We had a question on that.
Yeah, I saw the question with regards to the vape product that more than likely would not be accepted on the marketplace. But to get into the specifics, it's much more to the advantage of the audience if we just send that out as a follow-up.
Perfect. Okay, cool. And then we probably had another 8 to 10 questions that we weren't able to get to today. But what I will say is that in a follow-up email that we'll be sending out shortly, again, you will get a recording of this entire deck. And then maybe we'll include an FAQ of the other questions that we got we didn't get to today. So final thoughts, Zach, I'll pass it over to you. We're coming up at the top of the hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say thank you to Nicole and Gary. You guys' content was fantastic. And to the audience, if you guys are interested in joining the marketplace, this is a fantastic combination of technical know-how and tribal knowledge that's going to get you guys up in life fast and then also selling successfully. So really thrilled to have been able to engage with you guys today and look forward to helping your business get established on the Walmart marketplace or to continue and to thrive more so than you have been. So really appreciate it. Fantastic.
Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you, Gary, for joining, and thank you all for being able to attend. Looking forward to further discussions with all of you. Have a good day.